morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you. Welcome to the tube. Hope today will be feeling grand and always well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Good day to you all. Welcome to another Q&A Wednesday, everybody. Let's dive in with question 1 today, shall we? Yes, we shall. Okay, that's what we're here for. Okay, so question 1 today is, Why did you choose to use your Jaguar, your Squier Jaguar, to record Dukes De Luda's first album? Honest answer is I don't know. Other than the fact it seemed to sound and feel right at the time. Because when we recorded Duke's first album, which was 2 years ago now. Wow. 2 years ago in April. Yes, it was 2 years ago in April. We recorded that. And I had with me my white number 1 Strat, which goes everywhere. If I'm recording, that's my main guitar that I always kind of refer to. I had the Oswald Strat, which I was only going to use for overdubs because I'd only had it about 3 months at that point. I got it in February and we were recording in April, so I wasn't overly confident with the guitar. I mean, I was really confident with it, but not confident enough to make me go, I feel comfortable enough to play this in the studio kind of thing. So I had my white Strat, I had the Oswald Strat, I had my Dave Murray replica, which I was going to use for slide and did end up using for slide on the album. So anybody who got the Dukes De Luda's first album, all the slide is done on this Dave Murray Squire Strat. It was just an awesome slide guitar. It was an absolutely gorgeous guitar for slide. And I had my vintage gold top, single cut. I'm not even sure if I had the lemon drop. If I had the lemon drop, it wasn't there. I didn't take the lemon drop. Even if I had the lemon drop, I don't actually remember. I know it wasn't there in the studio. I know I didn't take it. And I had the Jaguar. And the reason I used the Jaguar was I don't really know. But the thing, if you watch I kind of documented it in a video. And if you watch that video, you can see the first song we were kind of like sound checking and messing around with, a song called Crossfire. I am using my white Strat. But then, from that point on, I switched to the Jaguar. And in all honesty, I'm not even sure why I switched, other than the fact I did feel that like I was being pulled in that direction to the Jag more. Like it wasn't something, it wasn't dragging me in the way of the white Strat or the Oswald or any or anything. Something was telling me to use the Jag, so I just adhered to that, and it just felt right. And it's really strange to this day. When I'm playing Duke songs live, we've got a gig on Friday, and I don't use the Jag really for Dukes anymore. I don't really use it as much as I used to. I used it since when we recorded the album. I used it straight till the end of last year when I started using my Oswald, the first Oswald Strat I ever got Nick ever made me. I started using that more. But the funny thing about the Dukes is, every time I play the Jaguar, it seems to work better. And I don't know why. And it's really strange. It's really strange. And the upcoming album that the Dukes are working on at this point in time, I've used the Jaguar for 2 or 3 songs, but I have used multiple guitars on this album. It was something I wanted to do. I wanted to go out my way and kind of like get different sounds. So I've used the Oswald Telly, I've used the 62, I've used the Jaguar, I've used my white Strat, I've used the Lemon Drop, I've used what else have I used? I can't remember what else I've used. I haven't used the John Strat yet. John Strat Mark III. I haven't used that yet because it wasn't here. But I do have more songs to record. But yeah, the first album was all Jaguar, apart from overdubs. The overdubs were done on the Oswald, and all the slide guitar work was done on this Dave Murray Squire kind of replica that I had at the time. But yeah, it was all Jaguar. And like I said, the weird thing is, like, when I do play with the Dukes, I always miss the Jag. And I always wish, I wish I had the Jag tonight. And it's nothing against the guitars I'm playing. It just, for some reason, I don't know why. Oddly enough, we were at band practice about 2 weeks ago, and I was playing the Jaguar instead of, because I ain't been able to put the John Strat Mark III down. So I kind of purposely thought, I'm going to put that down tonight. I'm not going to play that. I'm going to use the Jaguar instead. Just a bit of a change, you know. Change is good. Change is good. And I used the Jaguar, and every song we played, I was just like, this sounds and feels so much more right. And it's bizarre to say that because strats are... I love strats. I absolutely adore strats. But saying that, if somebody said you can't play strats, I'd always play Jaguars. It's just one of those guitars that I adore. It is definitely up there with Stratocasters. And I say, every time I play Duke songs, it just seems to work best with Jaguars, with a Jaguar. And I don't know why. It's really strange. And oddly enough, too, the Jaguar, my Squier Jaguar, is probably the best recording guitar I have. And I don't know why. It's the one guitar that after I've recorded, I don't have to tweak it. You know what I mean? The sound of that guitar records so well that, like, you know, sometimes I'll have to, like, roll some of the like, when I recorded a song with the Oswald Telly, I rolled some of the low end off, which is I normally do on... When I'm recording guitars, I always do that anyway. I always roll the low end all the way off. Just get rid of the low end so it sits better in the mix, you know, because if you keep the low end in, I find it gets in the way of the bass when you record the bass. So, you know, you kind of get rid of that. And just let the bass take that. And I make the guitar quite wiry, you know, in a way. So it sits in kind of like in the mid-range, let's say. There are some occasions where I'll boost up the highs a tiny bit. Only tiny bit, right in the kind of like the high range, but only a smidgen. Most of the time it's just kind of like lower the low end all the way on the waveform and just kind of like keep the mids, and occasionally, depending on the guitar, boost up the highs. But for some reason the Jaguar, I don't have to do any of that, and I don't know why that is. That guitar records perfectly. And it was really weird. When I recorded the 2 songs, I recorded 3 songs, 2 songs? 3 songs I've recorded with the Jaguar for the new Dukes album. When I recorded them, literally, I recorded it and I was like, that's it. I literally don't have to do anything to it. It's weird. So that Jaguar has got something in it. I don't know what it is, but I like it. So yeah, I mean, that was the reason. I was just being pulled in that direction. For some reason, that guitar at that point in time sounded right, and I just went with it, and it just works. And to this day, thinking about it now, I might have to take my Jag on Friday and just see how I feel with it. But it is one of those guitars that just kind of like just feels right for that band. And I don't know why that is. Every time I play on my Strat or the Oswald Telly, it's like I love it. But it's always, my brain always says, oh, the Jag, you need the Jag. And I was like, why do I need the Jag? It's weird. It's almost like some higher power is saying, you need that guitar, you need the Jaguar for this. You know, it's really weird. I mean, for some songs, I can't use the Jag, simply because playing the Jaguar requires me to be a bit more light-handed, especially with my right hand. I can't be as heavy-handed as I can be with my Telecaster or my Strats, because of the bridge. I have the original bridge on my Jag, so I can't hit it too hard because the strings will move all over the bridge. So I have to be a bit more light-handed with it. And certain songs don't lend themselves to that kind of thing. So especially some of the new songs we've got don't lend themselves to being that way. I've got to be heavy-handed in some songs, which the Jag doesn't particularly like. So that's where the Strat or the Telly come in perfectly. But there is something about that guitar that just kind of like screams that band. It really, I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but it just wants to be involved, and some higher power is always telling me to use the Jag. And every gig I'm like, I wish I had it, because I haven't been taking it to gigs recently. I've just left it at home. I've been taking all the Oswalds. I've been taking the first one, the Telecaster, and the John Strat Mark III. I've just been using those 3 live, and there are certain songs where I'm like, I need the Jag. I need the Jaguar for this. There's something that's sonically wrong. That's what it comes down to. It's nothing to do with the guitar's tone or sound. It's the sonics of it all. It's that kind of like, you know, you hear people talk about it all the time, but that's what I wanted to say. It sonically doesn't fit sometimes. The Jaguar always seems to fit, and I don't know why. I have no clue why. It just does. It's bizarre. So, yeah, thinking about it now, I'm going to have to take the Jaguar on Friday, and I'm sure my shoulder and back will be very happy about that. But it is one of those funny things. I've always found Jaguars to be extremely comfortable. I came close to buying an original 64 one, so it had been refinished, so it wasn't worth a great deal of money, but Sadly, I couldn't get the funds together at that time. But I would love an original Jaguar. I don't care if it's been refinished or not. Original ones have a certain sound, and I feel the Squier gets really, really close to that, and a certain feel as well, and the Squier gets really close to that. But yeah, I don't know. That it was just sonically the right sound at that point in time. It just worked, and it still does. So I might take the Jag on Friday, actually, to the gig on Friday, and just see how I get on with it, just to see if it does. See if I can appease the higher power that's telling me to use the Jaguar more often. I might have to use it for band practice as well this week, just to see. Okay, anyway, yeah, but I hope that's answered your question. There's a long-winded answer and very tangenty, but I hope that's answered your question. It's just, as I say, it's all to do with the sonics and stuff. It's not necessarily to do with, is the tone right, is it this? There's something else that's higher up than that kind of like leads you in a certain direction with certain guitars. So, and that was what was going on with the Jag. And I love that guitar. It's one of those guitars that I would always have to have with me. It's just one of my little like cherished possessions. Anyway, so I hope I answered your question. Moving on to question 2 now. Question 2 is, how did you begin to listen to Jimi Hendrix? Okay, I didn't find Jimmy for about 3 years into playing guitar. Initial guitar heroes were John Frusciante. My first year of playing guitar was John Frusciante, Billy Joe, Dexter Holland, and Noodles from The Offspring, and that was about it. Matt Bellamy from Muse. So those 5 guys were kind of like my first kind of like who I strived to be, so to say. And I wanted to be a combination of them all because I liked individual bits of them all. But then I got into Yngwie Malmsteen really heavily, like massively into Yngwie Malmsteen, much to the dismay of my dad, who hates shred guitar. I got into this massive Yngwie Malmsteen phase for about a year, where I was just kind of like trying to learn Far Beyond the Sun and Black Star, and my dad hated that. My dad's a punk music fan and stuff like that, so kind of like, you know, widdly guitar isn't really high on his likes list. But yeah, he didn't like that, and eventually I got bored of it because of Jimmy. And what changed it was hearing Voodoo Child. I mean, you hear that all the time from guitar. I remember hearing an interview with Dave Murray, and somebody asked Dave Murray from Iron Maiden, why did you want to start playing guitar? He said, I heard Voodoo Child, and that was it. And I was the same, exactly the same. Must be a Dave thing, maybe. I don't know. I'd ask Dave Gilmour at some point. Dave, why did you learn to play guitar? Even though you played guitar before Jimi Hendrix was around. Hey! Moving along. Slight issue we'll gloss over. Anyway, but yeah, I heard Voodoo Child, and I was at this. I was at a college, a local college, and my friend James, the guitar luthier, my friend James, he had Voodoo Child on. I just heard the scratchy wah-wah intro, and I was like, "What's that?" I didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was. No one ever told me who Jimi Hendrix was. He had come up in certain articles that I had read on with John Frusciante, I like Jimi Hendrix, but nothing had ever occurred to me about Jimi. I never thought about looking him up, and there was no YouTube and no internet in that day, so you couldn't just kind of go online and type in Jimi Hendrix on YouTube, and a load of things come up. Well, actually, not a load of things come up anymore, sadly, because of Jimi Hendrix and the Hendrix estate, but that's another video! But yeah, so there wasn't... He had downloaded Voodoo Child on LimeWire. Can anyone remember LimeWire? It was an amazing kind of like, you know, kind of way to get like, you know, basically thieving music, to say the least. It's not in the same way, kind of like, it's not too different kind of things like Spotify and stuff like that today. Anyway, and Napster and stuff like that. Anyway, he downloaded it on LimeWire, and he just had it playing in the room we were in, and I was like, what is that? And then you went, wow, and I was like, whoa, what's that? And then that was it, I was hooked. As soon as I heard, it was literally maybe like the first 2 notes of Voodoo Child, and I was like, I need to know what it is, and I need to know how to do that. And it was that subsequently made me want to buy a wah-wah pedal, which subsequently led me to the Zoom 606, and my affinity for wah-wah, and my affinity for Jimmy as well. And it was just that, and then literally from that point on, I didn't look back. I got a compilation CD called Voodoo Child, and it's got loads of one CD's loads of live performances and one's loads of album tracks. So you got like All on a Watchtower and Voodoo Child, and then on the live one you got Hear My Train Coming live at Berkeley, and you've got Machine Gun, which is the night before the other version, and then you've got stuff like Hey Joe and Fire and stuff like that. And it was literally from that point I was just obsessed with him. I was like, wow, this is, I can see why people say this is the best guitarist that's ever been, because he really is unbeaten. You know, you got to think Jimmy was doing stuff like, you know, all that crazy feedback and dive bomb stuff back in 1967. You know, with all that kind of stuff, and it's like, that's 67. You know, that's 50 odd years ago. You know, and people are still doing that thing now and thinking it's kind of groundbreaking, and it's, you know, Jimmy already did it. You know, I mean, it's one of those things. But I do understand why, you know, some people say, oh, well, Jimmy was overrated. He wasn't overrated at all. Jimmy changed the face of guitar. And anybody you ask says that. Jeff Beck went to see him, and Jeff Beck left going, better find something else to do. I'm no good at this. Eric Clapton says the same thing. Pete Townsend says the same thing. Dave Gilmour says the same thing. Robert Fripp say the same thing. You know, all these guitarists, all these legendary guitarists say it was Jimmy who changed everything. The Beatles, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, they all say Jimi Hendrix was the one who changed everything, because he did. You know, if it weren't for Jimi Hendrix, I think the guitar would be a lot of different animal today than it actually is. I really do. Jimmy was like one of the main innovators of electric guitar, next to people like Eddie Van Halen. You know, he really was. Eddie kind of took it the next step further, but there's still tons of Jimmy in Eddie's playing. Yeah, the tapping isn't, but all the dive bombs, the distorted sound, all that kind of stuff, the crazy rhythms, because Jimmy was incredible. Jimmy's rhythm playing, if you take a song like Stone Free, you look at Jimmy's rhythm playing, it's absolutely monstrous. And stuff like Isabella, you know, all these rhythm, Jimmy's rhythm is unreal. It really is unreal. So, yeah, and I love him. I love Jimmy. I always will. He's just one of those inspirational guitarists that will always be around. Hopefully he'll always be a household name, and he'll always be revered and respected for what he brought to the world of guitar, because what he brought is still unmatched, in my opinion. This is only my opinion. I'm not speaking for everybody, but my opinion, what Jimmy did is pretty much unmatched. There's people who come close to it, but from an innovation point of view, and just like generally kind of like, you know, sonically changing music like Jimmy did, and there's that word again, he's unmatched. He's unrivaled. There are people who come close: Eddie Van Halen, Matt Bellamy, Tom Morello, you know, John Frusciante. There's, you know, all these people who come close to kind of like, you know, innovating the guitar in some way, but no one has innovated the guitar as much as Jimi Hendrix. And I say, you go back to the time, if you go back to 1967, and you look at what guitar playing was at that time compared to what it was after Jimmy, it's night and day. It's black. You know, it really is absolute night and day. It's absolutely crazy. It really is. Jimmy he's a god. He's an absolute god of guitar. He really is, and always will be in my eyes. And I had a dream. I met him once. Awesome dream. I met him at a local takeaway shop. For some reason, I was in there, and Jimi Hendrix was in this local takeaway shop, and I had my white #1 Strat with me, and I remember Jimmy was sat. He was just sat, kind of like sprawled out across these two chairs, how I imagine him to kind of like sit, very laid back, very kind of like quiet kind of person. He was kind of laid back, kind of perched on these two chairs, and I was playing the guitar, and he goes, "Give me a guitar." And he took my guitar and he said, "This is how you play." And I clearly remember him talking about having the thumb over the top all the time. And he played Little Wing. And Little Wing is a song that means the absolute world to me. Just because it's my friend Charlie's song to me. That's another story altogether. But Little Wing is one of those songs that means the world to me. And it means, because it's just one of those, yeah, it means the world to a lot of people. But it's just one of those gorgeous pieces of music. And I remember him talking about the thumb over the top, how important that is, and just playing this stuff. And also kind of like, he played Little Wing and showed me how to play Little Wing and stuff like that. An amazing dream, absolutely amazing dream. And I can remember it so clearly in my head. It's like it happened. It's almost that clear. It's like a proper memory almost, and it's amazing, and I love that. And you got to love Dreams for that. But yeah, I mean, it's like Voodoo Child was that one that just like made me click with Jimi, and from that point on, Yngwie Malmsteen was out and Jimi was in, and I never looked back. And it was just thanks to Jimi that I wanted to be an expressive guitar player. I didn't want to be technically proficient like Yngwie. I wanted to play how I feel like Jimi does. Like, and when I heard Machine Gun, I was just like, that's the most powerful thing I've ever heard a guitar do, and still is to this day to me. It's like the closest thing I've got to Machine Gun solo is John Frusciante's final solo in Scar Tissue in Red Square in '99. It's just one of those things. It just hit me really, really hard. But yeah, that is unreal. But yeah, that was it. It was I just heard Voodoo Child and that was it. I'm hooked and always will be hooked. And I love Jimi and I owe the man a lot, even though I never met him. And I will always owe him a lot because of what he's given me, and what he gave us as guitarists and musicians. The man gave us a lot. He really did, and it'll always be unsurpassed to me. He really will. There's people who will always come close, but in the terms of innovation, you can innovate the guitar till kingdom come. But yeah, I don't think you're ever going to innovate that instrument and music as much as Jimi did, and how he changed things. Things never went back after Jimi. Once Jimi came along, things were one way. After Jimi, things were another way. Never, ever to go back to this. It's unreal. Jimi was, wherever you are, Jimi, thank you. That's getting all emotional about Jimi Hendrix now. But anyway, yes, that's how I got into Jimi Hendrix with Voodoo Child, and that's it. Ever since then, I just love the man. Absolutely love the man. He's an absolute genius, and I will argue to the end of days when somebody says he was overrated that he was not. And I will argue, and I will argue, and I will argue. And I will not let up. Jimi was a genius, and he's not overrated. He's underrated, almost in this day and age by some people. And I don't think some people realise how the guitar was before Jimi, and the fact that what he did was about 50 or something years ago. It's unreal. It's unreal. When you actually start looking into the kind of like the history of it, it really is. Yeah, it's unreal. So, Jimi, thank you. Okay, so going to move on now to question 3, because I could talk about that all day. But I have other questions to answer. Okay, so question 3. If you could only keep 6 guitar-related pieces of equipment, what would you keep? And what would you be sad to see go? Okay, 6 pieces of guitar-related equipment that I've got that I'd keep. Okay, it'd be my white Strat. It has to be my white Strat. I don't know, this is going to be really difficult. I'd need an amp. So the amp I would keep is my Marshall MG, my number 1 amp that's through in the other room. So that'd be my amp. Pedal-wise, I'd be torn between the Line 6 HX and my Zoom G2. The HX has more in it, and is, one way or another, a little bit better than the Zoom. But I still love the Zoom. Can I have both as my 2 pedals? I'd be quite happy with that. So yeah, so I'd have my MG, my Zoom, and the Line 6 HX, and then I would have 3 guitars. Okay, 3 guitars. My white Strat, just full stop. I would have to have the first ever Oswald guitar Nick made me, just because it's just, that guitar feels like home. It really is my number 2, that guitar. That first guitar Nick made me, because it's so worn in now as well, and the paint's chipping off and flaking off, and I'm wearing it in. There's plectrum gouges in the guitar, and the neck just feels more at home every day, and I'm starting to wear through the lacquer on the fretboard. That guitar would have to come with me, because it's just my second mate. And I think I'd have to have the Jaguar as my 3rd guitar. So Zoom, my MG, Zoom, Line 6, my number 1 Strat, the white Strat, the first ever Oswald, and my Jaguar. I think that's what I'd have to have. What would I be sad to see go? Everything. I would mourn everything. there are only a couple of guitars in my life that I have sold that I don't mourn the loss of. And there's only a few. But I mourn the loss of a lot of stuff. I mean, especially when you've had such a connection with it as well. But that's really difficult. That's a really difficult question to answer. So I put it to you, people of the tube. If you could have 6 pieces of musical equipment that you have, but you can only have for the rest of your life, that's it, what would they be? Let us know in the comment section below. And what would you be sad to see go? I'd be sad to see everything go. I'd literally be absolutely broken by most of the stuff. I'd just be like, no, I want that, I don't want this, and I want that. You know, I'd want the 62. I would want that. I would want this. I would want, you know, I would want my 50-watt Katana. I want my Carlsberg, my Marshall Master Reverb, my acoustic amp. I want that. I want this. You know, I don't want to see any of it go. I've got such a bond with all this stuff. You know, it really is. It's like, you know. But if I had to pick, and it wouldn't be easy. You know, it wouldn't be easy at all. I'd have to probably change my mind a million times. Well, no, I want that. No, I do. I don't know. Ooh. You know, it'd be one of those things. I'm like, I don't know actually know what I'm doing. But yeah, sorry everybody. I'm gonna have to blow my nose on YouTube. I was talking about Jimi Hendrix, got me all a bit welled up. But anyway, but yeah, that'd be what I'd pick at this point in time. That may change. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, people of the tube, let me know in the comment section below what you would keep. 6 guitar-related pieces of equipment you would keep. You also asked, if you had learnt another instrument when you were younger, do you think you would become as expressive with it, or do you think you would have eventually found your way to the guitar? I honestly have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I mean, I remember at one point I wanted to learn the drums, like when I was really young. My friend Tom had... his mum and dad had bought him a guitar, and I was with him when they'd bought him this guitar. It was a red Squier Stratocaster, and it's really strange. At that point in time, I had no interest. I was looking at the drum kits. I was like, wow, they're well cool. So my initial thought was I wanted to play the drums, but then that just kind of went away, and I never really thought about music. And then certain life issues happened, and I didn't even think about music till I left school, and things started to change. And then the guitar just came along at the perfect time and saved me. You know, it really did. It sounds cliche, but it really did. And gave me purpose more than anything. So I honestly can't answer that question. I don't know. Like I said, I did want to play drums. I did want to play the trumpet when I was really young for some reason. I actually made a trumpet out of paper. And I used to go around the house going like this when I was really young. I'm talking, we're talking about 6 or 7 years old here at this point. I remember that really clear. I had this trumpet I made out of like paper, and my dad helped me make it. It was like sellotaped together and stuff like that. And I was walking around the house going like that and stuff like that. And I also wanted to play violin at one point as well, but I could never get my head around the violin. And like I say, then all that it was kind of like little fleeting kind of instances that kind of like disappeared. I do remember I wanted to play guitar when I saw Joe Strummer. My dad being a massive punk fan, we used to watch these videos, and there was footage of the old Grey Western Test. Yeah, the old Grey Western Test, and the Clash were on it. Oh no, the Clash weren't on the old Grey Western Test. Sorry, it was Sounds of the 70s. That was it. It was a TV program in the 90s called Sounds of the 70s, and they used to kind of like do it. We've got loads on VHS video we used to tape off TV, and I remember like seeing Joe Strummer in the Clash doing Tommy Gun, and Joe Strummer had his collar up, he had this really cool haircut, he had glasses on, sunglasses on, black shirt, black skinny jeans, and a black Telecaster, and he just looked the epitome of cool, and I was like, I want to be him, I want to be that cool. And his voice was ace, and it really stuck with me. Joe Strummer's image really stuck with me. And I used to try and dress up like him. I had my collar up and stuff like that. I used to try and be Joe Strummer for a while, but then I realised I wasn't as cool as him, and I had to change. And I also couldn't grow my hair like him. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know about that part. I mean, who's to tell? In a parallel universe, I might be a cello player. Anyway. I'm going to move on now. Going to move on to question 4. So I hope that's such a question. Moving on to question 4. Question 4 is, Are you a fan of Wilko Johnson, and would you ever do a lesson on his playing style? Am I a fan? Yes, I am a fan. I don't know how you couldn't be a fan of Wilko Johnson. He's got a very unique sound, style, and approach to the guitar, which is very much his own. And he scares me when he plays because he looks like a psycho. But that's him, and that's wicked. There's some footage of him playing in Dr. Feelgood doing, I forget the song. And he does that amazing kind of moving backwards and forwards thing. And he doesn't stop. He just stares the whole time looking forward like that. And he just looks really scary, and I really like that. It's really cool. It was definitely his own thing. And watching him live, where he's kind of like going all across the stage like some kind of crazy madman, it looks ace. It's so cool. And I'm really glad he's still around. And he's not a guitarist who's got any influence on me, or is an influence on me, or anyone I've looked into at depth. But I do like his guitar playing, definitely. And I love his sound. It's really lovely and clean, and big Telecaster fan he is, and I like his Teletone. It's a very Telecaster tone that he has. Would I ever do a lesson on his playing style? I don't know, because I've never really looked into him to really understand his playing style. I did once for like a bit, but not really enough to be able to kind of teach it. He doesn't affect me in that way, if you know what I mean, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, a guitarist has to do some, like I say, it has to, music and guitar playing has to go inside me to kind of really affect me. And as much as I love Wilko Johnson's playing and his music, it doesn't really do that as much as, Jimi Hendrix, John Frusciante, or anybody like Peter Green or whatever. So, you know what I mean? It doesn't really affect me as much in that way. So, would I do a video on his playing style? I don't know. I won't say no. But I will say, never say never kind of thing. But I will say it won't be anytime soon. Because I don't know at this point in time. I don't know. But yeah, I love Wilko Johnson's playing. I love the man. I think he's brilliant. I love listening to. I love watching interviews with him. I like the way he talks about stuff and stuff. It's really cool. Anyway, so I hope it answers your question. Like I say never, but not at this point in time, sadly. But you never know in the future, maybe. Okay, so question 5 today, everybody, is I'm getting pain in my hand when I play. I am new to the guitar, and I think my guitar's neck is too big for me. Do you have any help or advice you could give me? Would be great. Okay, so if your hand is hurting and you're a beginner, then yeah, be aware, because you don't want to damage your hand as you're learning. It's not a good thing to do. So, and if the guitar neck feels too big, then it is too big. You can't fool yourself when something feels wrong. If something feels wrong, then it's wrong. If something feels right, it's right. You know what I mean? You just got to trust your gut instinct, and you got to trust that feel. If it feels wrong, it's wrong. So, if your guitar neck's too big, it might be worth looking into a guitar with a skinnier neck. You said you got quite small hands. So maybe look into a guitar with a skinnier neck instead of the one you've got. You didn't mention what guitar it was, so I don't know. But, something like an Ibanez, maybe, because they've got really skinny necks. They're quite wide, but they're quite skinny. Well, again, it's just going to have to go. You're going to have to go by feel more than anything, really. But if big necks are not helpful for you playing, you want to change as soon as you can. If it's causing you pain in your hand, then you need to kind of to stop. If you're playing and it feels okay for a while, but after like an hour or so of playing, your hand starts to hurt, then that's not as bad. It's still bad, but it's not as bad. It's obviously something's just like tiring your hand out. And being a beginner, you're going to get that a lot anyway. Your hands do, especially doing bar chords. When you're a beginner doing bar chords, it's not easy. Your hand will hurt and it will ache, and, you will get fatigued fingers and hands, and wrists, and your right arm will hurt and stuff like this. So, but maybe look into getting a guitar with a skinnier neck that feels more right. Go, if there's a local guitar shop near you, go and try loads of guitars and just get a feel. And like I say, you will know when it's right. Just go where you got instinct. When you pick up a guitar, you'll go, that's the one. You know what I mean? You will feel it. So, like I say, even ask somebody in the guitar shop what's got a really skinny neck. Something like an Ibanez or something like that. You can get like Ibanez Geos. I remember I had an Ibanez Geo, which again, I lament selling, everybody. That was a guitar that I wish I'd never got rid of. And I didn't need to get rid of it at the time. There was no reason for me to get rid of it. I just sold it. And as the guy walked away with it, I was like, you fool. And it was a gorgeous guitar, that, and I really loved it. And I liked the fact it had 24 frets. I liked the tremolo system. I liked the sound it had. The humbucker was gorgeous. The single coil was gorgeous. It was white. The neck was so skinny and easy to play. It was just, it almost played itself. It was a gorgeous guitar, and I sold it. And like I say, this guy who came to pick it up said he was just going to use it as a throw-around guitar. And I was like, don't throw it around. It's a lovely guitar. Don't use it as a throw-around guitar. Oh, yeah. And his last word to me, he says, oh, it'll probably be broken in a month anyway. I was just like, inside, I was literally screaming, like, no! Literally screaming. Because, like, when somebody says, oh, just give me a throw-around guitar, and I was like, all right. I said, it's a really good guitar, It's worth looking after. And he says, nah, it'll probably be broken in about a month. I was like, heart just went bang! It's like, and I wish I'd never sold it now. And there was no reason to sell it. I've done that a few times with stuff. Has anybody done that? I'm sure quite a lot of us have done that. When you sell something, you're like, I don't need to sell this, but I'm going to sell it. And then you sell it, you're like, I am a total idiot. And that was one of those moments. I wish I still had that guitar. That is one of those guitars I wish I still had. It had something special about it. I did a couple of videos with it. And, I missed. That is one of those guitars that I really miss. I was actually thinking about it the other day, like how much I really want to play it. And obviously I can't. And that's heartbreaking to me. But, things are things, and that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, I've totally forgot where we are. Yeah, pain in the hand. Tangent! Yes, anyway, but yeah, try different guitars and just see what feels best. Like I say, your gut instinct will tell you what's right and what's wrong. But if it is causing you pain, you do need to change that as soon as possible, really. You don't want it being a problem, and you don't want to damage your hand if you're just a beginner as well, which can be done if you're not careful. So I would say there's another hair falling out. I haven't got enough of them to lose. Why is it falling out? Most depressing thing in the world, going bald, I tell you. Well, receding. I seem to have plenty on the side, but nothing on the top. We did a gig, tangenting again. We did a gig about a week ago, and we had these really hot stage lights, and it was just like cooking the top of my head. And I was like, if I had hair, I'd be okay, but I'm not. And I got this really bad headache because these stage lights were cooking the top of my head. And I couldn't wear a hat because it was just making me sweat. So I was like, Anyway, I digress again. But yeah, seriously. Okay, I'm okay now. Yeah, seriously, if it's causing you pain in your hands, go for a guitar with a skinny neck, maybe even a 3/4, something like a Jaguar. Something like a Jaguar, it's got a smaller, skinnier, like scale length, and a skinnier neck, a smaller neck. Try something like a Jaguar, like a Squier Jaguar or something like that, because they are Jaguars, Mustangs, stuff like. I reckon a Mustang and a Jaguar are especially a Mustang, are the ultimate guitar to learn on, because they're so small, they're so compact, and they're so easy to play. You can't really go wrong. So it's maybe look into like a Mustang or a Jaguar. Nothing like a Strat or a Jazzmaster or a Les Paul. Look into something that's easy for you to play, that you can just really get on with. So, like I say, like a Jazzmaster. And also, string gauge. Go for gauge 8s or 9s. Do not go for 10s, 11s, 12s, just because anybody says so. Go for light strings, 8s or 9s. That's what you want to be going for if you're a beginner. You do not want to be using heavy strings at all. No 10s. 10 is out of the question if you're a beginner, in my opinion. You'll be using 8s or 9s. Make it easy. Do not go out your way to kind of like go, well, they're using 10s, I must be able to use 10s. Don't do that. Use really light strings and a really comfortable guitar. So that's what I would say. Look into a different guitar, maybe something like a Mustang or a Jaguar. You can get Squier ones on a budget, which are amazing. And look for something with a really skinny neck that you can wrap your hand around and feel comfortable. Just go to a local guitar shop and just play things, as much as you can, and ask for advice as well, but don't necessarily take it just in case. Just be aware. You will know what's right, but if you need help, ask, but don't always take their advice. Their advice might be wrong. So, but sometimes it might be right. But you know, it's a weird double-edged sword asking for advice. It really is. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you know in your gut what's right and what's wrong. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. So hope that's answered your question. We're moving on to final question today, question 6. Okay, so question 6. Will you show us how to play your song Never Fade? Just riffs and chords. Would you show how to play it? If enough people want to know how to play Never Fade, then yeah, maybe. But I don't know. People with a tube, do you want to see a video on that song I put out, Never Fade? Because, like I say, it's a song that, yeah, obviously, you know, means the world to me for what it is. Its subject matter is ridiculously close to me, and it's not something I ever thought anyone would want to learn. You know what I mean? It's one of those songs that I put out going, this song means a lot to me, but, you know, in all fairness, I'm overwhelmed by the support that song got, and it means the world to me. So thank you so much indeed for the support. It just, you know, the comments on that video were absolutely gorgeous, and I can't thank you all enough. It really, really meant the world to me. It was very, very touching. Thank you so much indeed for, you know, accepting that song. It, you know, it's a song I say that means the absolute world. It meant so much to me to do that song, and like I say, I didn't understand what it was until I was recording it, and when I was recording it, all of a sudden it clicked into place what that song was about, and so yeah. But yeah, I mean, if enough people want to know how to play the riff, then I will do a video on it, yeah, because no one can get me for copyright because I wrote it. So take that, big boys. I think you'll find that's copyright. I think you'll find it's not. Well, it is to me. It's my song. I wrote it, and I've got it copyrighted under my name and my name. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, yeah. If enough people, you know, if anybody out there wants to see a video on it, then yeah, I'll do a video on it, how to play it, just like the riffs and the chords, because all the solos are improvised. There wasn't a single solo that I wrote. It was all improvised, and the last solo literally nearly had me in the fetal position on the floor in an emotional wreck. That last solo really came from somewhere deep down, which something I'd been kind of maybe suppressing, and it came out, and it was all to do with the subject of what the song's about. And yeah, it wasn't an easy solo to play, and how I got through it, I'll never know. There was something, you know. I know what got me through it. I'm just not going to say, because it will put me on the floor in the fetal position. Anyway, but yeah, if enough people want to know how to play that, then I'll do that. But you know, I don't know. It's weird teaching your own songs, because I always think everything I write is terrible, and all my songs are terrible, and why would anybody want to learn it, and why would you do a video on it in the first place, and you know, stuff like that. So it's a bit weird to me. But because, like I say, I have a very kind of like putting myself down kind of mind that kind of goes, that's not good enough, it's rubbish, no one cares, no one cares, no one cares, no one cares. You know what I mean? Like, you know, shut your mouth, shut your mouth, shut your mouth. I fight that constantly in Q&A videos. There's this little voice in the back of my head that constantly tells me to shut up, no one cares. You know, go and live in a cave, Dave, no one cares. It's a lovely voice. It's a very, very lovely voice. It really is my best friend. Yeah. Anyway, moving along. You don't need to hear about that. That's for another video for another time. Anyway, you also asked, have you tried a Squier Hardtail, and what are your thoughts regarding Hardtail strats? I haven't tried a Squier Hardtail, no, but I would like to. The Squier Bullet with a hardtail looks immense. I keep seeing it on the Andertons channel, and I just keep going, I like it. I do have a hardtail. I have an old 1970s Ibanez made hardtail, which I absolutely adore. It's the guitar that I'll pick up when I'm downstairs. If the TV's on or I'm just sat around, it's the guitar I'll just pick up and just start playing around on. And I've recently had a lot of work done to it to make it work right, because that's a whole new video onto itself, that guitar, of what I've had done to it, because it was an absolute nightmare what I've had done to it. It's had a very hard life. But that, yeah, I do have a hardtail strat, and I do like hardtail strats. Do they feel any different? Do they sound any different? I have no idea. They don't feel any different to me. It's just the fact that I do keep going for a tremolo arm and it's not there. Do they sound any different? I don't know. I mean, Joe Bonamassa says the best strats in the world are hardtails. I don't know. I mean, I'd beg to differ myself. I don't really hear any difference. I mean, I don't know. Lack of a better word, I don't know if I care enough. A good guitar is a good guitar, regardless if it's hardtail or a tremolo or whatever. You know, a good guitar is a good guitar at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, I do like hardtails, but I would like to try one of these hardtail Squier bullets at some point. Maybe one day I'll buy one, but not at this point in time. I can't quite afford it at this point in time. But the time will tell. But yeah, I like hardtail strats. There's nothing wrong with hardtail strats. So I've played quite a lot of hardtails in my time. And I've always liked them. I never found a hardtail thing I don't like. They do feel substantially more telly-esque as I looked on my telly. I've got to say, they do have more of that thing, tension-wise. You know, but they still feel like a Strat. And they still sound like a Strat, but they have a certain telly aspect about them, but I don't know what that is. You know, I mean, that's just... that could just be me being neurotic, thinking, oh, the strings go through the body, it's a hardtail, it's like a Telecaster, it must have a Telecaster thing. That could just be like some kind of neurosis thing that we all suffer from as guitarists and musicians. But I don't know. I do love my hardtail Strat, and it's one of those guitars that I will have and I won't sell. Plus, in fact, you know, a very good friend of mine, Carl, he gave me it as a present. You know, so thank you, Carl. I call it the Carl Caster, and you know, it's really special. That guitar is really special. It's a really, really cool guitar. Anyway, and I recently put it back to its original natural finish. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of wood. You've probably see it. I think I used it a couple of videos back, and it's just gorgeous guitar. Anyway, but yeah, I do like hardtails. Do they sound better? I don't know. The sound difference is totally subjective. We're all different. We all hear things and perceive things differently. So yeah, I don't really know. Anyway, that's it, everybody. That's this Q&A done. That's all the questions. I hope I've answered your questions okay. I hope there's some good advice there you can take away. I hope I've cleared some things up if you wanted to know. And like I say, yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. The backing track for today will be released tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time as usual. I do hope you're liking the backing tracks. People of YouTube, let me know. I'd like to know, keep up on this kind of thing. I'd like to know if you're still enjoying the backing tracks, because it's really important that I know you are enjoying them. Because I don't want to be doing something you're not enjoying or you don't like, or you're just like, I'm not interested in that kind of thing. I want to be doing something that reaches out and you enjoy, because that's really important for me to be kind of like to do videos and things that you like. You really because you're the guy. You people make this channel, so I've got to thank you so much for that. For the support I get on this channel is absolutely unreal. So I've got to thank you so much for that. I've got to thank my patrons on Patreon so much as well. You just, the support you people give me is absolutely heartwarming, and it just, for somebody who's never had a lot of faith in humankind through what's happened to me in the past, all of you out there give me just like hope. You know what I mean? You're all awesome, and you're all so awesome. I don't know what I did to deserve any of you. I really don't. I don't know what I did to deserve this kind of support, but I am so grateful for it, and I want to let you know, I do not take it for granted any day, or any minute, or any second of the day. I do not take any of you for granted at all. I am so grateful for where I am and what you allow me to do, and it really is it absolutely means the world to me. So thank you so much indeed. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you so much for your support. It really does. So thank you so much indeed. And I will see you again on Friday for another video. I have no idea what it is, but I might have an idea. I don't know. I've got a lot of ideas, but I don't know what it's going to be at this point in time. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope I've answered your questions okay, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. I hope you enjoyed tomorrow's backing track. I really enjoyed today's jam. I don't know what it was. It was very strange. Very Dave Gilmour-y. It felt very Dave Gilmour-y. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody, and I will see you again very soon for another one. See you on Friday. Enjoy the backing track tomorrow, I hope so. And I'll see you again. Goodbye now. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening.